I am Tina Green, and I am your host of the Wise Women Circle. And welcome. I'm so glad you all came,
Thank
and
you.
and
Wise
and
women.
especially for those of you who are coming for the first time, welcome to your first one. I am the lead author of the Life Changing Power of Self Love, and Thais is one of the co-authors. Natalie is one of the co-authors as well. So I'm really proud of that book, and that's where this Wise Women Circle kind of arose from. Is the community around the book and the process of writing the book. I'm an ordained minister and a celebrant, a facilitator, and a transformational coach. And I'm most of all, what I want to say is I'm really passionate about helping people cultivate their self love, and it kind of comes through in everything I do and everything I offer, and this is part of that. And so, I firmly believe that when a woman learns to truly love herself, everything changes and anything becomes possible. I experienced that myself, and I've witnessed it in many, many other people. So it's a game changer. Um, I also think it's the greatest form of resistance to a lot of what's going on in the world. There's a lot of, anger, hate, fear, divisiveness going on, especially going into an election year this year. um, and I just feel like it's the greatest form of resistance. Just to love yourself is something you can really do to impact the culture and what's going on in our culture right now. So I created this, with the idea of uplifting women, of giving having a place that women can connect, and also to share wisdom. And that being said, to start it off, I'm going to do just a quick little grounding welcome, um, and then uh, and then I'll introduce our guest today, Thais. Okay, so if you feel comfortable with it, go ahead and close your eyes just for a minute. And I will keep mine open so I can keep an eye on the waiting room. But close your eyes and just really so grateful that you all came here today. And it takes a lot to carve out an hour of your weekend, and to sign up and to actually get online and show up for something like this. And it's self-love. It's putting yourself first to show up for something like this. And so everything that it took you to get here, and whatever your obstacles were, whether it was getting the sound to work on your computer, or whether it was you know getting some free time away from your family, or just really getting into a private space, whatever that is, just kind of let it all fall away and let it go and be here right now. And I'm just going to invite you to imagine that there's a golden cord coming out of your spine and going down into the floor, and down through the floor and down into all the layers of the earth, all those nutritious layers of the earth that really are sustaining life and really originating life. Keep going deeper and deeper through the hard layers, the soft layers, the moist layers, all of it, until you get down to that center of the earth, that molten center of the earth. And really, take some of that energy, that connection to Mother Earth, that source of life, and really pull it back up through that cord and pull it up into your body, and allow it to travel to every area of your body so that you are really connected to the earth throughout this, and you're really here and feeling that unconditional love from the mother, the earth that gives us all life. And I have so much gratitude that you all stepped in to share this hour with us. And with that, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the space. And here we are together. And I am recording this. And if there is some deeply personal sharing that happens, I will not share the recording. That's what ended up happening last time, and I didn't share it with anybody. So I will just follow that. Okay. So Thais is the guest today, and Thais has been my friend for a long time. And I would love to introduce her formally and then just talk about, a little bit of how Thais and I know each other. Thais is a board certified holistic nutritionist who helps women love themselves into their ideal body, vibrant health, and outstanding life. And she's got, just such a deep, deep well of information on on this topic, and really caring for yourself and loving yourself. And she has her own deep personal experience, and then really brings that forward to her clients. She's an awesome mother and friend, and lives in Massachusetts. And Thais and I first met because we both worked for a nonprofit that's local to where I live here called Ceres Community Project. And she was the nutrition, I can't remember your title, nutrition manager and educator, and I was one of the chefs. Well, we didn't actually first meet there. We first met at Bowman College, where we were first educated, her as a holistic nutritionist and me as a holistic chef. And we met there, but when we really got to know each other is when we started working at the same place, and we worked together a lot, and we became really good friends. And so that being said, I'm so happy you're here, Thais. I'm
Thank
so
you
happy
so
that you
much.
shared the book project with me, and that we get to walk on this path of self-love together.
Thank you, Tina, so much. I was so honored to be invited for the book, and then to get to do this today with you, with all of you. I have so much love and respect for you, Tina, and your girls. When you said that I was a wonderful mom, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best accolade, and to be able to reflect that right back at you, it's really wonderful. And
I have
since
two teenage daughters, you guys, and one of them actually babysat Tid's
my son,
Thais's son, Sid. I
yeah.
called him Tid. That was like
And Tina's
anyway.
daughter's name is Grace, but Sydney used to call her Grapes because it
Yeah,
was Grace sounded like grapes. Anyway,
yeah, yeah.
so thank you all so much for being here. And I do think, talking about self-love is so important, and not just talking about it, but creating a practice so that we can help ourselves and each other show that self-love every day. And the way that we show it to the other people in our lives that we love, right? I think about all the little things I do for my son or my husband or my mother or dear friends. And I don't know, like I wouldn't be able to tell you the percentage of how, those things that I actually do for myself, but it's growing. It's growing and it's growing. And I want that for all of us. Because what I've noticed, I've been working as a holistic nutritionist for the last 12 years and worked with cancer patients, and have worked privately one-on-one and in small groups that I lead with people, mostly women, that when we really deepen self-love, the way that we start behaving and making choices for ourselves changes, and it changes for the positive. Now we're making choices because we really want to care for something, and that's something being ourselves, versus it being about restriction, punishment. My doctor told me so. My nutritionist said I, should do this or that, or my husband thinks I should lose some weight, or all of the many reasons that we sometimes embark on like a change or a healing journey, right? Maybe there's a diagnosis. But if we tap into self-love first, the transformation is not only faster, but it's fuller. And I think we have a better time at it. So I would love to actually do another breathing exercise with everyone. And thank you, Tina, for just getting us all ground down. And before I go in, since I had read some of the what self-love means to you from the chat, a new one came in from Jan Hatcher in Nashville, Tennessee, saying self-love to me is a constant healing that makes my spirit feel free. Thank you, Jan. That's so beautiful. And will allow us to go right into this breathing exercise. And what it is, it's actually a process that I do with all my clients. And it's in the context of when they are embarking on a particular journey, right? Maybe they're going to be changing a few things about their lifestyle or their diet intake. And I love calling diet as our daily intake of everything, because it's not just about food, right? In what I do, it's never just about food. It would be so simple, right? If people were like, just tell me what to eat, that's it. Well, there's so much more involved. So when you think about this daily intake of everything, and if for some of us, there may be a little something we need to tweak, that's when we get to the end of this exercise, we're going to be envisioning like our vision of bliss, our vision of health for ourselves. And so that's in the context of that. But if there's nothing you need to change in your life right now, don't worry, you don't have to change anything. Just come along in this exercise and you can just see yourself as a glowing, vibrant being as you are in this moment. So can I get an okay? Are we all in? Can we do this? Wonderful. So if you can have both feet on the ground, it just helps reestablish that connection that Tina has helped us to feel grounded. And if you want to close your eyes, I'm actually going to close mine. It helps me go within in a different way. And the first thing we'll do is actually notice how far our breath is going. Just right now, without changing it, just notice if it's sort of upper chest, if it's fast-paced or slow. Maybe it goes to the middle of the torso, or maybe even all the way down to the bottom of the belly. And it's just noticing where we are right now. No judgment. There's no right way to do this. And as we notice, it's almost like saying a little hello to ourselves, and then noticing if we're maybe holding our shoulders with any tension and seeing if we can let that tension go and away from the shoulders. Noticing the jaw, and maybe letting a slight smile come to the lips as we let the jaw relax. Noticing if our tummies are tight, another place we tend to hold tension. And just now, we're going to start coaxing the air and breathing deeply into the belly. So deep that we can breathe all the way down into our pelvic floor, extending the bottom of our belly. Imagine if you could extend your back as you breathe in, and the sides of your torso as well as the belly. In many cultures, the belly is considered the seat of presence. And when we bring our breath to it, is one of the fastest ways to be present. And now, I'm going to count just so we can slow down our exhale slightly. So it is just a little bit longer than our inhale. And what we're doing here is activating the vagus nerve, which I'll talk more about later. So I will count to 4 for an inhale, and I'll count to 6 for the exhale. So we'll go like this. If you release all the air right now, and then inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can continue to breathe on your own rhythm, maintaining that connection to the belly. And now bringing a hand to the belly, around the belly button, connecting with the breath from the outside in and the inside out. And this hand on the belly is a gesture of acknowledgement for all the life inside of us. If you can imagine the color of gratitude for you, we're going to breathe that gratitude, that color into the belly, and thank every single one of our cells for everything they do 24/7 to help us thrive. Thank you. And then another deep breath of gratitude to all the life within ourselves, all the microorganisms, trillions of them, working to help us thrive because it means they thrive too. Ancient life that lives within us, that reads the environment for us, protect us, make nutrients, communicate with the brain and our emotions and feelings. Thank you. And staying with the belly, one more big inhale of gratitude to all the wisdom we carry in our bodies and our DNA, all the energy and love and knowledge from all of our ancestors that we get to move forward in this lifetime, knowing that so much about healing is encoded in our own bodies. If we can just listen. Thank you. And now I invite you to move that hand up to your chest, right around the heart. You can switch hands if your hand is tired. And when we put our hand in our heart, it's like giving ourselves a hug. The body actually recognizes this gesture as a hug, and it releases oxytocin, a wonderful hormone that brings feelings of love and belonging. And so we can do that for ourselves. And in this moment, just bring to heart something you really love about yourself. It can be tiny. It can be a personality trait or part of the body, anything at all. And now as we gear toward the end of this exercise, you can drop the hand and we're just going to focus on the exhale for a couple of seconds. And I want you to imagine if you could exhale from the top of your head, not just your nostrils, but your ears and the very top of your head. Imagine what that sensation would be like. As the air passes through the head, clearing thoughts as much like the wind clearing clouds, creating a little more space in the mind so that you can project a new image, your own little movie that you get to play inside your mind in this moment. And it is of you seeing what you look like, talk like, move like when you are feeling at your best. when you were feeling energized and radiant, spacious, loving and loved, with your cup full. You can make this vision as rich as you'd like. Maybe there's a place where you see yourself at, see those colors, those sounds. And this vision might be you in this very moment. It might be you in a few months, maybe even in a year. If it's a vision of the past, bring her to the future, bring her to the now. And walk toward her because she has something she wants to tell you. As she looks deeply in your eyes with so much love and a big smile. And she says, thank you for ... And you can fill in that line. And when that gratitude she's expressing, that you, your future self, is expressing to you, when that's complete, you can imagine an embrace, knowing that any steps you take forward in your life are in service of this vision, are based in love, and are already happening just from seeing it. And as you're ready, you can start coming back to the room. And I wonder if anybody would like to share a brief word. This is so private, and so if nobody feels like sharing, you absolutely do not have to. But if you feel inspired to share anything about this process, you are welcome. Thank you, Jan. Jan said that was so wondrous and calming. One of my favorite words, wondrous.
I'll share that it was really wonderful, Thais. Thank you. And I'll share that I thanked myself for putting myself first.
Mm.
And yeah. And actually my vision of myself was similar to how I am now, but just more vibrant, like more alive and more vibrant. Yeah.
Mhm. Super. Yay.
When when I walked towards myself, it was I heard the words, "Thank you for seeing me. You don't need to hide anymore." And I had this sort of image of, whoa, there I am.
Wow.
So yeah, it was great. Dance has always been very visceral for me. So I had these wonderful images when I could really dance very energetically, which I'm not able to do anymore. But nevertheless, that image was there. Yes, it's in there still.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes. And dancing can be so freeing to the soul, so that however you can dance, if it's still in you, do it as much as possible, right? With whatever range is allowed.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. And I would love to just give another beat if anyone else would like to share, and then I can move on. Okay. So one of the reasons I love this particular exercise is that it can really put us in a more receptive space. So I mentioned the vagus nerve, and part of having an exhale that's slightly longer than our inhale is that it can help set our bodies into our rest and digest mode, our parasympathetic nervous system. And in modern life, we tend to live in our fight or flight a lot of the time, right? Because we're always, I think, responding to some sort of like mini crises that the body sees as threat. And so whether it's being in a traffic jam or being late for the train or for an appointment or forgetting a deadline or what, like any of the little things that some of us or maybe all of us encounter on a day-to-day, maybe it's something with our kids, right, or parents. And especially, I think now with being so connected, through our phones and everything, it's like there are constant grabs of our attention, and that can feel like a threat to the body. And so we can be sort of in a shallow breathing pattern, and there's a lot that can happen from that. And so getting ourselves to a state where we can be more receptive, be in rest and digest, activate the vagus nerve, which is the longest cranial nerve. It goes from the base of the brain. It wraps around our vocal cords, wraps around the heart and the lungs, and then around our intestines. And it has its roots in our gut. And it's very interesting. What we know now is that 90% of the fibers in this nerve are sending information from the gut and the heart to the brain. So much of what we feel and we sense, like when we sense danger, right? Sometimes we feel that it's like a gut feeling, or we get butterflies in our stomach and things like that, is because so much is being recognized there from those roots. And then the message is sent up to the brain. And the more we can engage with this vagus nerve and get it relaxed, it becomes more flexible and it allows us to be more receptive. When we're talking about self-love, being receptive is key, because many of us might have a pattern of beating ourselves up, or if we're not practicing self-love, usually what's in the place of that is something that might be slightly opposite to it, right? All the way to self-loathing, which I've had many clients, even clients that from the outside may look like, they have everything and are very fit and successful. But until they unlock this little piece, if there's a lot of self-loathing, they still feel like nothing is right. And then we start seeing that in cardiovascular issues, gut issues. If we don't, the self-love or the lack of self-love has an actual cost biologically in the body. So I want to just give you a little overview of that looks like and why then creating a practice that might involve something like that breathing we just did, or that might involve some mirror work, which I'm hoping to do with you in a few minutes, is so important, because then we can actually have something very concrete that becomes a practice, and that's a way of showing ourselves through action that we care. The way we show others that we love them, we can have little practices that show ourselves that we care. With love is this unconditional regard for ourselves, right? So removing any conditions. It's not, oh, when I get the guy, or when I get the job, or when I lose the weight, then I'll feel good about myself. It's like, no, we start now. We take out all those ifs and whens, and we start now. And so also, I just want to mention this, something Tina always has as the self-love queen, that self-love is not a destination. We don't get one day we're like, okay, I'm done. Yes, I totally love myself. I'm good. It's all done. I feel like there's always space to grow that love. And the same way that I really think, love will save us, and it starts right here. Love is inside of evolve. Like we can't evolve without love. And so How do we create that as a daily practice, and why? So first, just to say that if the love is not there and the constant reminders are not there, we can get into a cycle of beating ourselves up for even small things. And I'm first one to admit that has been my pattern for a long time. And I'm so committed and engaged to what I'm doing that sometimes if things are not done a certain way, I'm like, oh, I could have, should have done it this way or that way. And it's literally a drain of our energy, and we don't get that energy back. You know, it's like sometimes I visualize like a drain opening under my feet and all my energy is getting down on it. It's like, how do we close that drain? We start replacing the thoughts. When that drain opens, there's 9 different things that happen in our body. Stress activation. So I just talked about the vagus nerve, right? It gets more rigid because now we're releasing the stress hormones like cortisol and epinephrine. The vagus nerve getting rigid all the time makes it less flexible. And so even when we're at rest, sometimes we have difficulty resting because we're activating it so often with our own thoughts. Our immune system weakens, our neurotransmitters lessen. So things like dopamine and serotonin and GABA, things that we need to actually feel good and show up in the world fully, those reduce. So again, just a thought, just going down those stairs of like, oh, I should have, why did I do this? Why did I say that? Whatever the thing is that we're feeling bad about ourselves, right? Our digestion changes, and it can open up the way for things like IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, which is a thinning of our walls of our intestines. And our microbiome changes, all that life, all those trillions of organisms within us. When we are in the stress cascade, certain types of microbes thrive in that environment, which are usually not the best ones. And then the really good ones start to decline. Our sleep can get disrupted. Has anybody here ever gone to bed thinking, oh, I should have done something differently. Why did I say it that way or do it that way or whatever? Anyone? Okay.
Yes,
Not just
totally.
me. And when we interrupt our sleep, then we're adding to all, like the immune system weakens. You know, it's like all of these things are cycles that keep repeating when we get stuck in that line of thinking and feeling about ourselves. Even our cardiovascular system, like our veins literally contract. So now we can be at risk for high blood pressure, for example, just from these thoughts that we're creating for ourselves. And even our genes or epigenetics, there are certain predispositions or gene mutations that we all have that sometimes never get turned on. For example, it may be a predisposition for, I don't know, having cataracts. Some people never turn those genes on and live perfectly full lives with very healthy eyes, right? And what's the difference between somebody with that gene mutation and somebody who also has the gene mutation that actually gets activated? Oftentimes it's the environment and or the stress that's created by their thoughts or their environment. And then, as I said, the breath actually changes because when we start getting into those thoughts, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, now we're breathing from our chest up and we're not getting that full breath that changes everything and brings air, oxygen into every little cranny and nook of our bodies. So that's another point in that cycle, right? That then feeds into all the other ones. And last but not least, our heart coherence. People can feel our energy. There's something, our hearts emit a certain energy that's actually much more powerful than our brains, for example. This energy is emitted and people can feel it, like we can measure it 6 feet away from ourselves. So when our energy is going into, I suck, those waves are like this. And we tend to actually, send people away, right? When our heart has coherence and we're coming into a room feeling whole and knowing like no matter what happens here, I'm going to go home when I lay my head in the pillow. I'm going to be right here. I can just put that hand in my chest and the love will be there. It's completely different. And people respond to us differently because now those waves that we're emitting are like this, right? And so with these 10 little biological items, like I feel like it's enough evidence to go, okay, it's worth the effort that every time I'm going down a path of not fully appreciating myself, that I'll do something to switch it, something quick. So with that in mind, does everybody have access to either a mirror or their phones in the like sort of selfie space? And this will be very quick. I just want you to notice as you look at your reflection, what is the first thought that comes to mind? And we're not judging it. We're actually doing this with curiosity, and you don't even need to share with anyone. Just notice it for yourself.
You could even pin your picture up on Zoom and look at yourself, right? If you have your camera on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so funny. Like here we are. So just take note of that. And now I want to offer the following. Every time you notice something that isn't kind, and as you might read in the book, The Life-Changing Power of Self-Love, for me, I had a cancerous mole in the middle of my cheek, and it grew and it grew and it became, reddish, brownish, black, and I could not see it. And I noticed again and again that I would go, ugh, ugh, ugh. It was like all these little microaggressions, because what I was telling my whole body was, I'm disgusted with you. That was the message right behind those, like, ugh, ugh, delete my photo. Oh, I don't want to see my photo. I don't. And it's just, those are little aggressions towards ourselves. It's like a way of self-rejection. Yes. And I studied nonviolent communication, and I was like, that was the opposite of that. And one of the things they teach in nonviolent communication is that we don't want to collaborate with the enemy. So every time somebody's talking to us in a way that isn't kind, we're not that likely to want to collaborate with them. So when we're doing that to ourselves over and over, it's really hard to come into that coherence, right? Because now we have this kind of weird relationship with ourselves. So when you notice that happening, see if you can catch it and make yourself replace that with a really positive narrative, with a very supportive, kind thought. And so it's literally about coming back to that mirror. I don't know why I feel funny doing this on Zoom, but going back and just saying something like, and you will find the thing that feels very authentic to you, but it could be, look at those eyes. Ah, I see the love in your eyes. Or, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. That's it. Like, it doesn't need to be. And it would be beautiful if you can just say, I love you. I really love you. But for some of us, that might come with time, right? It may not feel totally authentic at first. But find the one thing like, oh, your lips look really nice today. Whatever, like find something new. Because as we start changing that, there's a cumulative effect that we stop going into those downward spirals more often, because we are training ourselves to replace that with love. It's like starting to sow the seeds of love, and you can do it with the mirror. For some people, it really helps having a sticky note in the mirror in the morning, so that when you wake up, instead of first going like, oh, I look like shit, or like whatever, pardon my French, but sometimes that's the thought. It's like, oh, I guess I didn't sleep well or whatever. And immediately seeing the sticky note can be the trigger that goes, oh, good morning, beautiful, or whatever it's in there for you. And I promise you, you will see a change in how you are coherent, in how you are with yourself in those moments when the shoulds and don'ts come up, and even in the way that you are in your relationships.
And Thais, can I say something about that really quick?
Yes.
I do this on a regular basis, and one of the things that I like, especially when I get up first thing in the morning, that I notice about myself is I have bags under my eyes. And I used to be really like, oh God, look at that. And then lately I've been doing this thing where I'm really like, really deeply trying to listen to my body and all the different signs it gives me. So now whenever I see something like that, I'm like, what is my body trying to tell me? That I have bags under my eyes when I wake up in the morning. What is that telling me? And so it's not like a criticism of myself, it's more of like a curiosity. Like
Yes.
it's telling me something. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because that's like something really present for me right now.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I notice that too, and sometimes even just doing some, like face yoga or whatever, just feeling like, yeah, what's happening, but I love the curiosity about what is this telling me? Because our body is always communicating with us. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Are
Well,
there
thank you,
any
Thais.
comments or questions? Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Any questions or thoughts from anybody? No. Okay. Well, Thais, do you want to share with us anything that you have coming up that people could join in if they want to, or how they can find you?
Yes. Thank you. So my company's name is Nourish Together. And so my website is nourishtogether.com. In there, you can find a lot of information about my offers and a little more information about me and some of the collaborations I've done with my husband. He's a somatic psychotherapist, Nick. And even the notion of diet as our daily intake of everything is something that we've created together and have presented together in the US and in Europe, where we bring together gut, heart, and mind. And so for me, as far as my own work, just myself, I see clients individually, and I usually work with people for 3 months minimum to really create the positive transformation they're looking for. And I also offer a group program twice a year called the Reset. And that's just a 3-week group program, super engaging, super fun, and super delicious. It's all food-based. It is a cleanse, like we remove certain food triggers that are known to cause inflammation in a big part of the population. Not everyone, but often most people benefit from just taking a little break from certain things like sugar and dairy and gluten and so on. But it's a very supportive group. And my next one is going to be in March. So there's time to kind of think about it. So if you go to my website, there will be a pop-up that says download my 3 mindset shifts to love yourself and to better health. It's some of the information I shared here with maybe some different details, but you can download that and then you'll be part of my community and when things are coming up. Thank you,
All
Tina.
right. Awesome. And so our next one is on February 4th, our next Wise Women Circle. And we have our wise woman is Michelle Vesser. And ironically, Thais introduced me to Michelle Vesser. And she has
She's
just
amazing.
become an important part of my life. And she's also one of the authors in The Life-Changing Power of Self-Love. And I'll just tell you a little bit about her. She's a powerful force of a woman and really wise. And Michelle is guided by her deep connection with the natural and spiritual world. Her business is everything sacred, tending to the inner and outer landscape. And she brings her passion as a spiritual counselor, a mediator, an end of life doula, a grief counselor, and she does other works of service. And really, how I've experienced her is as a spiritual counselor, she really helps people work on their inner healing and releasing stuck emotions and reconnecting with your gifts and really removing blocks that that are blocking you from reconnecting with your gifts. And anyway, I would be here next time if I were you on February 4th. And
Yes. And I can vouch, I've studied with Michelle, have benefited greatly from her wisdom, and her coaching. She's deeply connected to the earth too. She was a master gardener for years and years and years. Anyway, so I can't say enough about her.
Yeah.
And speaking of the earth, can I just put one more plug
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
here, Tina? I also wrote a children's book called Little Red. It's part of my commitment to help kids get really excited about vegetables and fruits. So the first one, Little Red, is about an apple. It's the first of a series. But if you have kiddos in your life, check out Little Red, the apple who wanted to sparkle. It's on Amazon. Thank
So
you.
back to Michelle. She and I are actually teaching a 2-day weekend retreat coming up soon for women called Sacred Acceptance and Self-Love, Living Your Fullest Life. And it's March 2nd and 3rd in Sebastopol, and it's going to be really powerful. Like the two of us bringing our work together, will have, the goal is to have people, really kind of remove what's blocking them and really get into some somatic practices that will help move things out so you can really see your true self. You can really bring your gifts forward and make a really deep commitment to yourself. So should be really great. It's on March 2nd and 3rd, and it's like, really affordable. We have a sliding scale, so it's $250 to $400. And anyway, so that's coming up really soon. And thank you all for
Is that in
coming.
person only, Tina?
Yes, it's in person only.
In
So you
person.
would have to come to Sebastopol, California to do that. But you're welcome if you are out of town and you want to come out to wine country for a weekend or for a week and make this part of it. Oh, awesome, Zoe. That's great. So to take us out today, I did something that I haven't done for any of these before, and it turned out like perfect. I drew a card from this oracle deck that I have called the Goddess Oracle. It's a really nice deck, and it features goddesses, from all different cultures. And I drew a goddess, and please forgive me if I said this wrong, because I've actually never heard of her before. Amaterasu, and she's a Japanese goddess of beauty. And so I'm just going to read you a short poem about her and then the meaning of the card, and you won't believe how much it connects with what we talked about today. All right. Amaterasu Omi Kami is her full name. Beauty. You know what? I'm going to put my glasses on real quick because it's getting dark. Let me share with you the secret of the mirror. Let me share what is known only to the sun goddess. It is a secret so powerful, it will free you from darkness. A secret so delightful, it lets warmth dance in your heart. A secret so illuminating, it allows you to know yourself. A secret so simple, all you need to do is open your eyes. The secret is in the light of the sun, in the eyes of the mirror, you are beauty. And then this is her, if you wanted to see what she looks like, according to this goddess oracle. And then the meaning of the card. Amaterasu is here to tell you to bask in the radiance of your own beauty. Do you know your unique beauty, or do you feel you can't be beautiful because you don't look like a model or a movie star? Are you in your crone years and feel that age is ugly? Perhaps you are afraid to express your beauty, afraid that you will attract unwanted energies. Amaterasu, hopefully I'm saying that right, says that all women possess the light of the feminine and that light is beauty. She advises you to let go of your preconceptions of what beauty is and allow your beauty to be. Wholeness is nurtured when we celebrate all our aspects, and being female means that we are beautiful. And they suggest a ritual for each one of these, and the ritual was exactly what we did with the mirror. So I can't believe I drew that card. I was like, really? Can't make it up, right?
Right. So good.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and sharing an hour of your Sunday afternoon here. And hope to see you in a couple weeks with Michelle. Thanks,
Thank you,
Laurel.
both
Thanks,
of you. It
Zoe.
was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Allie. And thank you so much. I just want to say, I'm sorry, Natalie, I forgot. Really wanted to thank Natalie. She's been really supporting me on putting this together, and she puts all the links in the chat and everything. And I really appreciate Natalie's support in making this happen.
Thank you.
All
Nat.
right.
Thank you.
you, Jen and Jen.
All right. Have a great the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.